Hi everybody. So the other day I was rummaging through some old drawers, trying to find something, which I didn't find, but I did find something else which was very interesting. And it was this. Okay, it's an old photograph going right back to 1997. So, what was the photograph? Well, here it is, okay? And so the photograph was taken in 1997, and I can remember styling this tree, and it must have been around about 1990, something like that. Just bought my first house, and I remember being out in the garden. I thought it was great. I've got my own house, got my own garden, and I can do my bonsai on my own. So that was brilliant. So it was lovely to find this photograph. And so I thought, well, probably what we should do now is have a look at the tree and see what it's like. So let's have a look. Here he is. I'll show you the photograph again. As you can see, so it's 2024 now, October 2024, so he's grown a fair bit, okay. It's a Lawson Cypress, and I think he's looking fantastic. It was lovely to find the photograph because you do forget what they started off with. And going back then, sort of in the 90s, of course, photographs weren't as readily available. We didn't just have phones we could snap away with, so to find an old print was lovely. So I'll just show you around. I mean, you can see the trunk here now. Okay, I'll put the photograph up side. You can sort of compare it at the time. What I'll do is I'll push it forward a little bit so you can see. So you can see the size of the trunk now. It's got this beautiful bark, absolutely stunning. Some nice thick branches down here, and I just keep these pads just sort of pruned here. I haven't tried to keep everything out flat because it just wants to grow. It's a very upward growing tree. It doesn't like to fan out like pines and some of the junipers and even like some of the elms, you know, so you get these sort of pads. So all I do is define the branches by just doing some pruning around here, but I still like to keep the overall shape of what the cypress tree would look like. They are very sort of conical trees, upward growing. And I just put a little bit of shape in it just to sort of give it a little bit of interest, define the branches, and it's looking really good. So it's due now. You can see we've got some little shoots popping out here, and I just go through and just finger and thumb and just pinch it out like that. If I get a few heavier shoots, so they get a little bit too thick and too heavy, I just carefully prune them down just to maintain the shape. Like that. I do have to go in, it does sort of catch leaves from other trees as well, and I go in there every now and again and clean out some of the old foliage that's died off down below, and that allows me to keep some light in there, get the light and the air back into there because it's very thick, dense foliage. So let's spin him around and you can have a look. Okay. Some moss growing on down here. I cleaned some of the moss off because I like to be able to see the bark, and I let some moss grow, especially around the bottom here. So I'll probably get in there and give that all a bit of a scrub up actually. Even the soil surface needs a bit of a clean up. Take the topsoil off, put some fresh soil on, redress it, makes it look really lovely. And I think I'll do that in a minute actually. So I had intended to actually video the whole cleaning up process, but that turned out to be quite a long job, and I thought that would be rather boring. So I've just done some snippets. So here I am just taking out the old foliage. You can see some of it dropping down there. It's quite surprising how much came out actually. So you can see how much old foliage has built up as it's covered the whole of the surface, and there's quite a lot more on the table. Right, so on to the pruning, and so some long-handled bonsai twig shears here. These are nice and sharp, very long, very pointy, very accurate to use, which is perfect because I do have to be quite accurate with my pruning here. I try not to cut straight through loads of foliage and just try to get in between the leaflets so as not to cause any dieback, which makes the tips look brown and pretty ugly. And if you're doing that all over, it soon makes the bonsai, spoils the look of the bonsai. It doesn't do the tree actually any harm, but doesn't look nice. So you can see here I'm trying to be quite careful when pruning. This took about an hour to go through and prune this tree, and it needs doing several times a year, especially through the growing season, just to keep it in shape. So I hate to think how many times I've pruned this over the past, 30 odd years, 35 years, can't remember now. So just working my way up the bonsai. I always tend to start at the bottom and then work my way up. This particular tree has got a nice fresh scent to it. I suppose a lot of pine trees and cypresses and cedars and that, they have a kind of nice fresh smell to them. So just carefully looking for any dominant shoots, keep them under control. That helps to keep the back budding going lower down the branches. So I've had a quick clean up, taken off all the old leaves and things from here. So we've got this big pile of old leaves, look. So now what I want to do is just do a little bit of scrubbing. I'll take my toothbrush and some just fresh water. I've got a bucket of fresh water down there, and we're just going to do a little bit of scrubbing up here. Okay, so I don't normally work at this speed, but I didn't want people to start falling asleep while I'm just scrubbing the trunk. So I decided to work a little bit faster. So you can see the bark really shining through now. You can see all the cragginess. And as I said earlier, I'm not taking all of the moss off, just sort of taking out bits, leaving bits so it looks nice. But that's really starting to look lovely. So I've done the bottom of the trunk there so that we can see the difference. And now what I'm going to do is start to clean up the soil surface a bit. So I have finished scrubbing the soil surface, and now I'm giving the pot a good wipe over, a good scrub off, get that nice and clean as well. So I'm going to go into fast mode on this bit. Makes it look quite exciting. I like this bit because it just finishes it off, and I find it quite rewarding. Everything looks clean and neat, and the topsoil's all nice and fresh. And to just smooth it off a little bit, and it looks fab, it looks really good. Right, so let's have a close-up, let's have a look up the trunk, see what's going on up there. That looks so lovely. Well, looks a lot better, a lot smarter, a lot cleaner. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It goes to show what can be done. It does take a few years. There's no such thing as an instant bonsai, but it's the journey. It's fantastic. And that's one of the things I really love about bonsai. You can take something small, whether it's a seedling, a cutting, and you can grow it, nurture it, see it evolve over the years, and it just gets better and better. So I wonder what he's going to look like in another 20 or 30 years, 100 years, I don't know. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and take care.